Hello Lakers fan, if you are one of those who are always up to date with the news about our Lakers, then you need to stay tuned to what is coming up on our Lakers news channel. I am preparing exclusive coverage on the possible signings of LAKERS, and what I can tell you is that rumors are catching fire on social media, and if you don't want to miss any information, stay tuned. We have exclusive news every day. If you are a true Lakers and don't want to be left out of the news, be sure to subscribe. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Let's go to the video.
Lakers news. LeBron James shares candid update on knee injury recovery. In the Los Angeles Lakers' recent matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves, LeBron James suffered a knee injury. Though he managed to finish the game, he later revealed that the injury was more serious than it initially seemed, serious enough to sideline him for the following games. Now, a few weeks later, LeBron is opening up about his recovery journey. On the latest episode of his podcast Mind the Game, co-hosted with Steve Nash, he shared a positive update. Like I said in the last episode, it's been getting a lot better. Still got some work to do. But yeah, it's definitely improving. While progress is happening, LeBron admitted the toughest part of this whole process isn't the physical pain, it's having to slow down. That's the hardest part. Even when I can't do much with my lower body, I'm still in the weight room, still doing upper body workouts. The only real thing I can do with my legs is ride the stationary bike. Just enough to keep the blood flowing and maintain some flexibility in the knee. But I'm not the type to sit still. I've got a ton of energy and I hate being inactive. So yeah, it's been almost 2 weeks since the season ended and the staff always tells you to take some time off. But that's just not who I am. Honestly, I'm going a little stir-crazy. For someone as relentlessly active and driven as LeBron, being forced into rest mode is no small challenge. But at this point in his legendary career, taking time to heal properly might be exactly what his body needs. Fortunately, LeBron has largely avoided major injuries over his 20-plus years in the league, and there's no doubt he'll do everything in his power to return at full strength, especially with Lakers training camp on the horizon. Caitlin Clark in awe after meeting LeBron James. During his recovery, LeBron has been keeping a close eye on basketball across all levels, including the WNBA, which just kicked off its 2025 season. He recently gave a shout-out to Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark after her impressive triple-double in the season opener. The two finally met in person, and Clark didn't hide her excitement. She described LeBron as one of her idols and called him her all-time favorite player, an unforgettable moment for the rising star, and a testament to LeBron's enduring influence across generations. LeBron's support for Clark hasn't gone unnoticed. His praise not only highlighted her incredible debut, but also helped bring even more mainstream attention to the WNBA's new season. The interaction between the two stars quickly went viral, sparking conversations across social media about the growing respect and connection between NBA and WNBA athletes. Fans and analysts alike were quick to point out how meaningful it is for a young player like Clark to receive recognition from one of the game's greatest icons. The moment also emphasized LeBron's continued role as a mentor and ambassador for the sport, something he's embraced more and more in recent years. Meanwhile, back in Los Angeles, the Lakers organization is keeping a close eye on LeBron's progress. With a long off-season ahead, the team is reportedly optimistic that he'll be fully healthy in time for training camp. Sources close to the team have indicated that James is working closely with medical staff and personal trainers to ensure a full recovery, without rushing the process. Internally, there's also growing anticipation around how the Lakers will restructure the roster in the offseason, especially with LeBron expected to return at full strength. The front office is actively exploring trade options and free agent moves to build a more competitive squad around him and Anthony Davis. The belief is clear: if LeBron can come back healthy, the Lakers still have a real shot at making a deep playoff run next season. For now though, LeBron remains focused on what he can control: his recovery, supporting the next generation of players, and staying mentally locked in. I've been watching a lot of basketball. Not just the NBA, but college and WNBA too. It keeps me motivated, he shared on the podcast. It reminds me why I love this game so much. I want to be out there, but until then, I'm going to keep learning, keep supporting, and stay ready. As one of the most enduring figures in sports, LeBron's journey through this recovery, both physically and mentally, is being watched closely by fans, teammates, and young athletes around the world. And if his past is any indication, he won't just come back, he'll come back stronger. Naji Marshall opens up about Luka Doncic trade to Lakers. It hurt, man. Luka Doncic's trade to the Los Angeles Lakers will go down as one of the most shocking and emotional moments in NBA history, not just because of who he is, but because of how unexpected it was. There were no signs Doncic wanted out of Dallas. By all appearances, he was committed to building something special with the Mavericks. But in a bold and surprising move, Mavericks GM Nico Harrison pulled the trigger on a blockbuster deal, sending the superstar to LA in exchange for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. Though initially devastated by the trade, Doncic has since embraced his new role in Los Angeles, and sources around the league say it's only a matter of time before he signs a long-term extension with the Lakers. Back in Dallas, the emotional impact of the trade is still being felt, especially among his former teammates. Speaking on the Old Man and the Three podcast, Mavericks forward Naji Marshall didn't hold back as he reflected on what the trade meant to him personally. "Look, I get it, business is business in the NBA. But it still hurt, man. Luka's not just a teammate, he's a real friend. I've got a lot of love for AD, he's my guy, and he's been amazing since he got here. We've all welcomed him, and he welcomed us. But losing Luka, that stung. The time we had together, even if it was short, was special. It just hurt to see him go." Marshall also opened up about the emotional weight of seeing Doncic return to Dallas in a Lakers jersey for the first time. "I couldn't believe it. I mean, I knew he was going to go off. Luka's always going to be Luka, but seeing him in that Lakers uniform in our arena, it was surreal. He was emotional too. He cried before the game. I don't know exactly what he was feeling, but I can imagine what it meant to him. That place was his home. None of us thought he'd ever leave." In a heartfelt moment, Marshall painted a picture of who Doncic was behind the scenes, not just the all-star but the person. "Luka's honestly one of the chillest, most down-to-earth dudes you'll ever meet. From day one, he makes you feel like you've been best friends for years. Just a genuinely happy guy, always laughing, always positive. And of course, the man's a Hall of Fame-level shooter. That's who he is, on and off the court." It's clear Doncic wasn't just the face of the franchise, he was deeply loved in the locker room. And for many within the Mavericks organization, his sudden departure still doesn't sit right. Adding to the drama, head coach Jason Kidd, who had a strong working relationship with Doncic, has admitted that he hasn't spoken with Luka since the trade. Whether that's due to timing, tension, or just the emotional fallout, it speaks volumes about how jarring the situation has been for everyone involved. A franchise still healing, a league still reacting. The fallout from the Luka Doncic trade hasn't just impacted the Mavericks locker room, it sent shockwaves through the entire NBA. Fans in Dallas were stunned. Murals of Doncic that once adorned the city's streets became shrines overnight, flooded with messages of heartbreak and gratitude. Season ticket holders voiced frustration. Social media erupted. Analysts questioned the logic behind the move. After all, Luka wasn't just a franchise player, he was the franchise, the centerpiece around whom the Mavericks had been building for years. From a basketball standpoint, the deal has sparked heated debate. Some believe the acquisition of Anthony Davis gives Dallas a better defensive foundation and a true co-star for Kyrie Irving. Others argue it was a panic move, sacrificing youth and long-term potential for short-term gain. And while Davis has already started making his presence felt on both ends of the floor, comparisons to Luka's absence are inevitable, especially with Doncic already lighting it up in purple and gold. LeBron James, speaking to reporters after a recent game, acknowledged Doncic's arrival in Los Angeles with high praise. "Luka's a generational talent. He sees the game like few ever have. Having him here? It's special. We're building something." Those words only deepened the sense of loss in Dallas, hearing a Lakers legend speak of Luka in a way that once felt exclusive to Mavericks fans. Meanwhile, inside the Mavericks organization, the transition hasn't been easy. Sources say that while the front office stands by the trade, there's an internal understanding that the locker room needs time to fully move on. Team leaders like Kyrie Irving and Naji Marshall are being leaned on to stabilize morale and bring unity to a team that, emotionally, is still reeling. One staff member, speaking anonymously, said, "You could feel it, the energy shift. Luka had this aura about him, this presence that made everyone believe we could win every night. That doesn't just get replaced overnight." The league's players have taken notice, too. Several stars, including Jason Tatum and Giannis Antetokounmpo, publicly expressed surprise at the trade, with Giannis tweeting, "Luka to LA? Didn't see that coming, wow." Even rival teams are adjusting their game plans. The Lakers, now featuring a deadly LeBron-Doncic duo, are suddenly back in championship conversations. Meanwhile, the Mavericks' path forward is less clear, betting on Davis staying healthy and hoping Kyrie can take on a larger leadership role. But if there's one thing the NBA has proven time and again, it's that nothing stays still for long. The story of this trade isn't finished, it's just beginning. Luka Doncic has found a new home, but the shadow he left in Dallas may linger for years. And for players like Naji Marshall, who shared a bond with the Slovenian star beyond the court, the emotional toll remains very real. "I wish him nothing but the best," Marshall said. "I just hope he knows how much we appreciated him while he was here. He wasn't just our teammate, he was our brother." You can't teach that. Why Charles Barkley says the nice guy LeBron James will never be greater than Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. LeBron James just wrapped up his 22nd NBA season, an incredible milestone by any standard. At 40 years old and battling through injuries, his early playoff exit with the Lakers was disappointing, but understandable. Yet despite his longevity, championships, and an ever-growing list of records, LeBron still finds himself locked in an endless debate. Is he the greatest of all time? For some, the answer is yes. For others, not quite. And for NBA legend Charles Barkley, LeBron will never reach the level of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, not because of talent, stats, or accolades, but because of something far more intangible. Barkley's take, the killer instinct divide. Speaking on the Spit in Chiclet's podcast, Barkley didn't mince words. He believes there's a fundamental difference between LeBron and the two iconic players he's so often compared to. The difference between Michael, LeBron, and Kobe is that, first of all, they're all three of the greatest to ever play. But LeBron is a nice guy, Barkley said. And that, in Barkley's eyes, is part of the problem. Nobody ever said that about Michael or Kobe. Nobody ever said, "Man, Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. They're such nice guys. They were killers." While LeBron is unquestionably one of the most complete players to ever step on the court, with more career points than anyone in NBA history, Barkley insists it's not about numbers. It's about mindset. "Michael and Kobe would kill you to win," he added. "LeBron wants to win, absolutely, but deep down, he's just a really nice guy. And that's not something you can teach. You can't learn to be a killer. You're either born with it or you're not." A flawed but fascinating argument. There's no shortage of stories about Jordan and Kobe's legendary intensity, their brutal competitiveness, their refusal to lose. Barkley isn't wrong about that. But reducing LeBron's greatness to his personality? That's a much more controversial take. Yes, LeBron has often been described as collaborative, supportive, and at times, even deferential, traits that have led to criticism in high-stakes moments. But is being a nice guy really a flaw? Or just a different kind of greatness? LeBron's legacy includes not just his 4 championships, but also his leadership off the court, his longevity, his versatility, and his ability to adapt over 2 decades. His elevated teammates, built championship teams, and helped redefine what it means to be a modern NBA superstar. Yet, for traditionalists like Barkley, that's not enough. The killer instinct, that relentless, borderline ruthless drive, remains the ultimate deciding factor in the GOAT conversation. The debate isn't going anywhere. As LeBron heads into what could be the final stretch of his career, the comparisons to Jordan and Bryant will only intensify. But perhaps what makes this debate so compelling is that it forces us to ask, what really defines greatness? Is it pure dominance and an iron will, as embodied by MJ and Kobe? Or is it sustained excellence, adaptability, and leadership across eras, the hallmarks of LeBron James? One thing's for sure, being a nice guy might not earn LeBron Barkley's approval, but it's won him the respect, admiration, and loyalty of millions. And maybe, just maybe, that's a different kind of killer legacy. Fans and analysts react. Is Barkley being too harsh? Charles Barkley's comments sparked immediate debate across social media and sports networks. Some fans applauded his honesty, agreeing that Jordan and Kobe possessed an edge LeBron never quite developed. But many others pushed back, arguing that Barkley's focus on personality traits overshadows the undeniable facts of LeBron's greatness. ESPN's Stephen A. Smith, for example, challenged Barkley's perspective on First Take. LeBron's not a killer. The man has carried teams to the finals, come back from a 3-1 deficit against a 73-win Warriors team, and leads the NBA in all-time scoring. That's not a killer? Please. Others on social media questioned whether being a killer is the only path to greatness. After all, LeBron has accomplished what very few have, without the same cutthroat persona as MJ or Kobe. His leadership style may be different, but his results are hard to deny. One tweet read, "If being a nice guy keeps you out of the GOAT conversation, what message are we sending to the next generation? That leadership through compassion and team building doesn't count." The evolution of the GOAT conversation. What Barkley's comments really do is highlight how the definition of greatness continues to evolve. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant came from an era where dominance was often expressed through intimidation and sheer will. LeBron James, by contrast, came of age in the era of super teams, player empowerment, and social activism, where collaboration, emotional intelligence, and off-court legacy matter just as much. LeBron's brand of greatness is more nuanced. He doesn't just play the game, he shapes the league, empowers younger players, speaks out on social issues, and invests in education through projects like his I Promise School in Akron. That broader impact, some argue, should add to his legacy, not diminish it. Yet for purists like Barkley, it seems the GOAT conversation will always come down to one thing: mentality. And in that regard, Barkley, like many old-school players, holds firm to the idea that no one ever wanted it more, or fought harder for it, than MJ and Kobe. What's next for LeBron? As LeBron eyes his 23rd NBA season, questions about retirement loom. He's still playing at an elite level, but time is no longer on his side. Whether he stays with the Lakers or eventually joins a team that drafts his son, Bronny James, remains to be seen. What's certain is that every move from here on out, every playoff run, every stat, every quote, will be analyzed under the GOAT microscope. Can LeBron win one more ring and silence doubters like Barkley? Or will his legacy remain defined not by what he accomplished, but by the belief that he was never quite ruthless enough to be crowned the best ever? Either way, the conversation isn't dying down anytime soon. And maybe that's the greatest testament to LeBron's career, that nearly 2 decades in, he's still at the center of the most passionate debate in sports.